Okay, in this video, we are going to apply these two word problems. So this is standard form video number 3. So if you haven't watched the first two, make sure that you do that. Okay, so I know that you guys don't really like word problems, but hopefully these won't be too terrible. So a football is kicked from the ground at an initial velocity of 90 feet per second. The function here, like that. Ooh, sorry. Function here will give you the height, which is h, of the football after t seconds. So t stands for time. So in this case, in this problem, that is seconds. So what is the height of the football after 2 seconds? So if t stands for time, what they want you to do is plug in 2 for your time. So meaning that we are going to plug in 2 for t. So wherever we see a t, you're going to put a 2. So what you could also do, just to show you an easier way, is you could plug in this equation into your calculator. So negative 16, remember we don't have t's, so x squared plus 90x or 90t, and get that table. So they want to know when x equals 2. So that is at 116. Okay, or you could actually do that math. So 2 squared is 4. Negative 16 times 4 is negative 64, plus 90 times 2 is 180. And then when I add those together, that ends up equaling 116. So you can either actually do the math or just plug it into your calculator, and we're plugging in 2, so that's 116, whichever way you want to do it. So that's 116. What's the height? So height is talking in feet, so make sure that you've got units because these are word problems. How high is the ball at its initial point? How long does it take to get to the highest point? So the highest point is talking about your vertex, right? Because that's either your maximum point or your minimum point. So we need to solve for the vertex. So remember, our vertex is the axis of symmetry. So we have to find the axis of symmetry first. So that's the negative b. So in this case, b is 90. So negative 90 over 2 times a, which in this case is negative 16. So negative 90, and then 2 times negative 16 is a negative 32. And then when I divide those, so negative 90 divided by negative 32 is 2.8125. So unfortunately, because this is not a whole number, I can't just plug this one into my y equals and find the vertex. It won't give me that exact number. So I actually need to go through and plug this one in like we did up here. So negative 16 times 2.8125 squared plus 90 times 2.8125. Okay, so that squared, so let's square that, is that number. It's pretty long, so times that by a negative 16. So negative 126.5625 plus 90 times 2.8125, 253.125. And then if I add those two together, that is 126.562. So now we have to figure out which one is the height and then which one is the time. So when it comes to your vertex, your x value, so let's put this up here, is your time. And then your y value is your height. Because if we look back here, remember back to Unit 2 when we were doing, or Unit 1 when we were doing composition of functions. So this was y of x. So y of x. So that meaning that your x would go first. So t in this case stands for time. And y is h, or height. Okay. So what is the flight distance the football traveled from start to finish? And how long was the football in flight? So we just solved for the vertex. Okay, so that is our highest point because our a value is negative. So if we just draw a light little sketch of this, we just drew, or we have something that looks like this. So we kicked this football and we just figured out that it took about 2.8 seconds, if we were to round that, to get there. And then we also figured out how long did it take, or sorry, the height of that ball. So the height was 128 or 126 feet about. So this time they want to know what the total distance was and how long in total it took it was in flight. So that was just to get to this point. Now remember, this is our axis of symmetry. So everything over here is going to be the exact same on the right side of this graph. So this is also going to be 2.8, and this is also going to be 126 feet. So total would be, so our total time would just be everything doubled. So our 2.8125 seconds. So if I double that, is 5.625 seconds. And then our total distance so our 126.5625, we double that, is 253.125 feet. Okay. So I flip the page. A juggler is tossing a ball into the air. The height of the ball in feet can be modeled by the function here, where h represents the height and of the ball at t seconds or time. So at what height is the ball thrown from? So where did it start? So this is talking about the start point. So we are looking at this equation here. So if you remember back from the last video, our start point is talking about our c value in the equation. So in this case, that would be 5. So your start point is talking about your c value, which in this case is 5. So it starts at 5 feet. So what is the maximum height? So here they just want the height, they don't want the time. So if you remember, the vertex is time then height, so we actually have to find the x value first and then the height. So we need to find our vertex. So if I plug in, so be negative b, so negative 16 over 2 times our a value, so negative 16. So that's negative 16 over negative 32, which is a positive 1/2 or 0.5. So now I'm going to go ahead and plug that back in. So times a negative 16 is negative 4 plus 16 times 0.5 is 8 plus 5. So negative 4 plus 8 plus 5 is 9. So our height in feet, so it would be a maximum height of 9 feet. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. And now you should be able to do the entire homework assignment and take that quiz. Let me know if you have any questions and make sure that you take your time because these are easier than what they might lead on to be. You just have to think. Have a nice day.